The return of Regulation H means the return of constant weather wars. Weather is a powerful and a common strategy in Regulation H. We have seen various weathers do well multiple times in the first part of the regulation. Sun won a huge international championship, Rain actually got second at that same internats. Then the script was flipped at the Toronto Regional Championships, where we saw Rain win and Sun get second. However, Sun and Rain aren't the only powerful weathers in VGC Regulation H. We saw an Alolan Ninetales with Snow Warning get second at the Baltimore Regional Championships. Additionally, a Sandstream Tyranitar got top 8 at that same regional. There was a massive over 350-person tournament hosted this past weekend. The results of this tournament show it's clear that weather strategies are picking up where they left off in VGC Regulation H. We saw 2 Sand teams and a Rain team get top 8. Additionally, 2 Ninetales Snow teams got 9th and 10th. Honestly, if I went through all the weather teams that did well in Regulation H, we would be here until next Tuesday. In this video, I want to look at the art of winning the weather war, and to do that, I want to look at one of my favorite weather matches from the first part of VGC Regulation H. So without any further yap, let's hop into team preview. So just to give a quick overview, Marco, the reigning LAIC champion, is running a Sun plus Trick Room team. The team threatens absolutely massive damage with Choice Specs Charizard in Sun, and Speed Control plus Fast Sleep Powder from the Jumpluff. Additionally, however, his team has a powerful and bulky Trick Room mode with the Porygon 2 and Flame Orb Ursaluna. On the other side of the field, we have Wolf Glick running a Rain team, featuring Politoed as the Rain setter, and both Kingdra and Archaludon as the Rain sweepers. However, there is a second mode on this team, Perish Trap, allowing Wolf to blow holes through his opponent's team with fast, powerful offense, and then slow play down when he has the Pokemon advantage and win with Perish Song. Okay, we are jumping right into Game 3 of the Masters Finals of the Toronto Regional Championships. Right here, right now. Wolf took Game 1, Marco took Game 2. We are in a decisive Game 3, and there's just some absolutely high level, some elite gameplay in this game, and I just really want to highlight some of the way both these trainers pivot and, fight for winning the weather war, fight for winning the game. So we are just jumping right on in. We see Wolf leads full Rain mode. Marco did not bring the Torkoal in either Game 1 or Game 2, relying on that manual weather setup from the Jumpluff that does have access to Sunny Day. And so I really like this lead from Marco, kind of saying, okay, I have Fake Out, you don't have a way to stop Fake Out. So I get to click Fake Out, and Tailwind here, this shouldn't really be punishable. Okay, but Wolf does read the Tailwind here and Encore lock the Jumpluff into Tailwind. And to me, that turn is Wolf's first step for winning the weather war, ultimately winning the game in this one, because you are forcing the Jumpluff to swap out here, because you can't just leave in a Jumpluff that's Encore locked into Tailwind. That is really a useless Pokemon on Marco's side of the field at this point. And so Wolf really gets to say, okay, unless you Terra your Incineroar, I'm going to take your Incineroar. And even if you do Terra your Incineroar, I'm going to take a lot of health on your Incineroar for not very much resources in return. So we do see the Jumpluff withdraw. We see Porygon 2 come out, just a bulky Pokemon that we know for a fact from the previous games can absorb some big attacks here, so I really like that swap from Marco. And then we see the Terra on the Incineroar. This is 100% necessary, or else this Incineroar is going down. And even with the Terra Go, so you take neutral from the water type damage, we are going to see Incineroar take about, this is a Life Orb Kingdra, in the Rain, take what, 85% from that, eat the Citrus Berry, yum yum yum, to heal back up, but still, ultimately, that turn 1 gave Wolf a lot of momentum, right? Because it gave Wolf forcing Marco to use his Terra, and having to swap out his, like, Marco being forced to swap out the one Sunsetter he did bring to the game. However, this pivoting is exceptional for Marco, absolutely exceptional, because now you get your Weather Setter back in, and you get to absolutely devour. Look at Jumpluff, eat that attack. You get to absolutely devour the water type attack that is going to come out from the Politoed here. So now Marco is not in a heinous spot. Marco can click Sleep Powder, fast Sleep Powder, so will outspeed. Marco could also click Sunny Day to kind of disrupt the Rain duo facing him down right now. However, if you do click Sunny Day here, both of Wolf's Pokemon do have Weather Ball, so then all of a sudden that Weather Ball does become super effective into the Jumpluff. So that is just something to look out for. So we do see the withdraw on the Kingdra. We did see the Sleep Powder lock-in from Marco. And I do know in Wolf's team building videos, we have heard him talk about multiple times how he would rather have more answers than less to sleep spam Pokemon, right? And so I think this comes out, this is shown perfectly here, because we have Goggles, Incineroar, boom, and then what we are seeing right now, Terra, Grass, Politoed. So this means neither of these two Pokemon can be put to sleep. One, that's huge. But also, neither of these two Pokemon can be Rage Powdered. Marco already used his Terra on the Incineroar, so we do have the Ursaluna that is also weak to Water type on Marco's side of the field right now, and not being able to be redirected because one of these Pokemon is Goggles, one is Terra Grass. So we do see the Perish song go up, and I like this from Wolf. Look, there's no trap on the field as of right now, but the threat is still there. The Perish song is so good because the threat's still there, saying like, okay, the trap might not be here, but I have the power to bring my trap in literally at any time, and then I'm going to take your two Pokemon. I'm going to take the two Pokemon that are on the field right now that have heard the Perish song, meaning I will get to take one of your really big damage dealers, and two, I will be able to take your Weather Setter, again, putting Wolf one step closer to winning the Weather War and thus winning the game. It is important to note Marco still does have the speed control on his side. There is still Tailwind up, but Wolf has the fake out pressure, so Marco's not really able to use the Tailwind turns as well as he would probably like, just from the sheer amount of, like, disruption that Wolf is going for right now. And so we do see, like I mentioned, we do see the Sunny Day from the Jumpluff, so able to now, Marco is in full control of the weather. Full control of the weather, Politoed is 10 toes down right now on the field, cannot reset the weather, so Wolf will have to swap. We'll have to take a turn to swap if he wants to get his weather back set up, and now Ursaluna can click big damage coming out here, can go for big facades, big spread damage. That would be super effective on the Incineroar, but not very effective on the now grass-type Politoed as well. But the Jumpluff, what does the Jumpluff want to do here, right? Like, the Jumpluff can't Rage Powder these two Pokemon, can't Sleep Powder these two Pokemon, doesn't have a attacking move here either. So the Jumpluff, we are going to see the Jumpluff swap, because like I said, not putting on a ton of pressure. You want to save the Jumpluff, you want to save your Weather Setter, you want to save one of your speed control Pokemon, you want to save your Redirection Mon for later when maybe you can put in a little bit more work. We are just going to see the fairly safe double Protect from Wolf here. Again, not very many Incineroars run Protect, as there are so many moves you want to run on the Incin. However, on a Perish Trap team, it is not a surprise at all, because Protect, playing defensive and protecting is literally the backbone of Perish. So we do see the double Protect here. Now, Ursaluna, I believe we did just see the text come up that everybody, besides the Porygon 2, everybody on the field has heard, every Pokemon on the field has heard the Perish song, so we'll simply Perish this at the end of this next turn if they don't swap out. So we are going to see the withdrawal of the Politoed. You don't want to lose your Politoed, you don't want to lose your Weather, you don't want to lose your Perish Singer here. And we do, Wolf's final Pokemon is finally revealed to be that Gothitelle. So we do see Wolf has gone with the full rain mode plus the pretty strong Perish Trap mode as well. And we are just going to see a massive Earthquake come through, getting that ding ding ding. I believe that was a ding 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 one-hit KO on the Incineroar, and getting over half health on the Gothitelle. However, Incineroar is not the only Pokemon that can eat a berry here. Gothitelle snacking on the berry to come back up to just about 45% health here. But now it is a 3-3 match, right? Now it is a 3-3 match, and I would say where this team that Wolf built and where Rain plus Perish can shine is the Rain mode, big, fast, heavy-hitting attackers, as we already saw in this game, right? So you can blow holes through your opponent's team, and then when you have the Pokemon advantage, you can click Perish Song for an almost guaranteed win. So let's see how Wolf is going to play this. Wolf does not bring in the Politoed as of right now, knowing that there is a real possibility that the Jumpluff could want to click Sunny Day and could win the Weather War, because then Wolf would manually have to swap out again, just kind of losing board positioning and losing momentum turn after turn. But here we are going to see the Incin hard swap out, the little Porygon 2 come back in. Because the cool thing here, Porygon 2 getting the attack boost and not the special attack boost, the cool thing here is, because the Incineroar was forced to go for a Terra Ghost, a Weather Ball would not be resisted, because Incineroar is no longer a fire type. And so the Weather Ball would no longer be resisted, but we do see Wolf just click the massive Draco Meteor, and look, Marco clicked Tailwind that turn, and Wolf clicked Trick Room. So how the speeds interact is everything on Wolf's side is going to move before anything on Marco's side, because Marco did increase the speed advantage, right, by clicking Tailwind. However, by clicking Trick Room, Wolf kind of takes those speed tiers and flips them directly on their head, right? And so now this is an open team sheet tournament. Wolf knows that there is no Protect on either of these Pokemon, and as I mentioned earlier, Kingdra can go for a 100% super effective Weather Ball onto the Grass-type Jumpluff. So Wolf really doing a great job of identifying, sure, I could probably bring my Politoed out, however, I actually, with a move like Weather Ball is such a cool move, with a move like Weather Ball, I can actually use, I don't even need to bring out my Weather, I can use my opponent's Weather kind of against them to get some huge hits into the Jumpluff, because that Kingdra was -2. If we do remember, that Kingdra's -2 from clicking the really big Draco Meteor there. So now, Marco does have Fake Out set, but this definitely seems like a position where if Wolf is able to get the Politoed in, and able to not be frozen by the what will be super effective Ice Beam from the Porygon 2, because Politoed is now a Grass type, it seems like Rain plus Perish will now be in a position to win the game. However, we are playing Pokemon. You know, Draco Meteors can miss, Ice Beams can get freezes, moves can crit, all that kind of stuff. So we certainly don't count anything out as of right now. But here we go, going into the late game, going into the final stages of this game. Wolf has now 100% won the Weather War, getting to bring out full health Politoed here. Trick Room is still up, Tailwind is still up as well, so both of Wolf's Pokemon will be moving first here. The Incineroar, very, very low health, just because Wolf was able to pump out so much, this goes back to turn 1, Wolf was able to pump out so much damage that turn 1 by utilizing the Weather on his side of the field that now Gothitelle, because the Incineroar was also forced to Terra, Gothitelle can now use Psychic, as Incineroar is no longer a Dark type, but Incineroar down, we are now in a powerful 2v1 situation where Politoed does get to click Weather Ball. This is Stab Weather Ball in the rain as well, doing really decent damage, and Marco's kind of locked into recovering here. Additionally, the moment this Porygon 2 goes for something that Wolf says, oh, I want to lock you into that, Wolf also has the ability to Encore here as well. Wolf has leftovers on the Politoed, so while Politoed is certainly going to eat some damage from, a good amount of damage from the Ice Beam on the P2, Wolf was just able to really use the weather to his advantage on turn 1, and we just see it paying dividends in this endgame as well. But I definitely Pokemon is a crazy game. Pokemon is a crazy game. Like, you definitely don't call it quits here at all. There are win conditions. I will also say, Wolf does have the possibility to lower Spadef and gets a crit, lower Spadef with Gothitel's Psychic move, so I do think it's just going to be so hard for Marco to come out of this, because even though Trick Room is over here, Marco can't both click Recover and get damage at the same time. You know, he's kind of really pinned in that way, and that's the game. That is game 3, and I love that game. I love that game so much. I think it really highlights some absolutely fantastic gameplay, absolutely fantastic weather wars, and I will catch you in, I don't know what I was gonna say, I will catch you in the end of the video for my final thoughts on kind of like the state of Regulation H and the state of weather wars. That game 3 of the finals, I just think is a stunning game to see some really cool gameplay, to see how these weather teams interact, how weather wars how a turn 1 in a weather war, even though there were not a single KO was picked up, how a turn 1 in a weather war can just absolutely snowball and come back and just really mean that the end game is kind of cleaned up for one weather. The other reason I really wanted to show this game in particular is because even though these two teams both have weather modes and certainly rely on their weather modes, how do I say this? It isn't just, both these teams are not just a one-trick team. You know, it's not just, oh, this team is only Sun, this team is only Rain. No, Marco's team has a Sun mode, has a Trick Room mode, has a Tailwind mode, all that kind of stuff, has Incineroar for a more balancing mode for being able to kind of slow the pace of the game, and then of course Wolf's team does have the really powerful Rain mode, but of course it does have that Perish mode, again, does have a Trick Room mode in the Gothitelle as well, to slow the game down and to play at the pace that he wants. So just a really cool game, I think, that really highlights some cool gameplay, that highlights weather. As I did kind of say in the beginning of the video, weather is going to be a huge deal in Regulation H. And I think that's really it from me. So thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you did enjoy this content at any time, please feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It genuinely helps me out so much. That's going to be it for me. Okay, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!